Voice of Ukraine. So, as you may or may not have known, as you may or may not have heard, Slovakia, for some time, ever since a certain party has won in Slovakia with its prime minister, there's been a pretty strange swap, okay? Soon before the Polish parliamentary election, there's been an election in Slovakia, and a pro Russia sort of political movement has won in Slovakia, which sort of raised the stakes in Poland. It's been a tense period during that time because Hungary has been showing some real pro Russian sentiments at the time. Poland has been moving slowly, dangerously in a anti-Ukrainian direction over the tension at the border. Uh, there was a statement by the ex-prime minister of Poland that Poland would not be sending any more weapons, that it would be instead arming itself. And plus, Slovakia. Slovakia won. In Slovakia, a pro-Russian party won, which meant that a lot was at stake on whether or not law and justice would continue to be in power in Poland or not. Thank goodness law and justice lost in Poland, and the course has been sort of changed in many ways when it comes to the Polish government and when it comes to the Polish governance. The erosion of democracy in Poland has been sort of thwarted and reversed. But still, we are left with a Slovakia that is pretty openly pro Russian. And very recently, we have heard a very curious statement by the Slovakian Prime Minister. You know, the thing that we've been sort of depending on for quite some time now, this idea that the borders of countries are sort of the idea of integrity of borders, the idea that the international order does not allow anymore for a country to just attack another country willy-nilly and annex territory. We all thought that we've been past that sort of era. We've all thought that we've been past this sort of way of dealing, of international dealings, of country X attacks country Y, carves up part of it, and the cycle repeats all over the place. We all sort of thought we were past that, but apparently, according to the Slovakian Prime Minister, that is not exactly the case. According to the Slovakian Prime Minister, that is just an empty gesture. A nice sort of little political thing. Russia will never return Crimea and will never leave Donbass and Luhansk, says pro-Russian Slovak Prime Minister. Russia has no intention of relinquishing control over occupied Crimea, Donbass and Luhansk, pro-Russian Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico declared to the Parliament's European Committee, asserting that this is theirs. The Czech news agency CTK reported on April 17th. From the point of view of international law, each of us recognizes the territorial integrity of another country, its sovereignty, and the inviolability of borders. This is a good theory of international law, he said. So basically, he said, while this is nice in theory, in practice, it means very, very little. But I say that the Russians will never return Crimea. The Russians will never leave Donbass and Luhansk. And what I want to say is that this is not really, this is more a testament to Russia breaking the international law, breaking the international precedent, more than any indication that the law itself is just a cute little theory, you know? And I believe personally that it is up to us, and by us I mean the collective West, to make sure that it is more than just a cute theory, that a country cannot just attack another country, annex parts of its territory, and then declare this is ours now and there's nothing anybody can do about it, and integrity and sovereignty are just cute theories. Like, this cannot become the norm. The idea that sovereignty of countries are just cute little theories. Fico also claimed that Ukraine was losing territory every day, while Russia was gaining more territory as part of its offensive. Ukraine has no military potential and no military power. It has no military solution and will never have one. There will only be 100,000 more dead on one side and on the other. NATO invasion is the only thing that can help, but it is World War III. See? Is that an extremely pro-Russian sentiment? Because it's not true. It's just blatantly not true. Like, look at the tempo of Russian advancement. Look at how much territory Russia is gaining every day. And why? Most of all, think a bit. Think why Russia is gaining so much ground. And not it's actually very slow the way Russia is gaining ground. And all of it is not because of the brilliant Russian military potential. It is because Ukraine is starved. It's starved out. It is faced with critical share shortage. It is faced with problems. It just cannot be understated that Russia is not gaining ground on the merit of its military prowess. It is gaining ground on the quote unquote merit of Ukraine not having the means to defend itself against Russian aggression, because so far the US aid is still blocked, even though the voting will supposedly happen this week over a Ukraine bill, and Europe is just slow to deliver what it should be delivering to Ukraine to allow it to win. So no, I don't believe that NATO invasion is the only thing that can help. I believe that what can help are two things: real, tangible help from the West, from the US and from Europe, unblocking the 60 billion aid, delivering weapons and munition quickly, and also Ukraine mobilizing more troops. That's it. Those are the things that are necessary. There's no need for a NATO invasion. That is, I just don't believe that. I think this is like false. Ukraine has the means to win. It just needs help. Fico proposed a cessation of hostilities and suggested granting special status to the Russian-controlled areas of eastern Ukraine, followed by a referendum on their future. Oh, you mean like the fake referendums that caused this whole mess to begin with? Like, I don't trust those referendums. Like, who would oversee those referendums? How would those referendums happen? On what rules? What if an actual referendum happened and everybody in those territories decided that they want to be part of Ukraine, would Russia accept that? What if Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk, under an actual international supervision, when asked, decided they want to be part of Ukraine? What will happen then? Would Russia just quietly accept that? I don't think so. I don't think Russia would just quietly accept such a uh, I don't think Russia would accept such an outcome. I just don't. You can build castles in the air, but the Russians are not going to leave. This is theirs, he said. See? This is theirs. The Slovakian prime minister already sort of accepts these terrains as Russian. Because he's just basically a pro-Russian guy. So of course he's gonna say that. Mindlessly, without thinking just how much of a bad precedent this sets. That a country can just invade, take over, and declare this is mine now. The Slovakian prime minister is too short-sighted to see that this very thing could just happen to Slovakia one day. Russia could enter. Oh, these parts of Slovakia seem like they're ours. Or maybe even the entirety of Slovakia is ours. Maybe Slovakia is not even a real place. Maybe Slovakia is just Russia, you know? But that's neither here nor there. Previously, Fico repeatedly spread Russian narratives about the war in Ukraine, claiming that it illegally began because of Ukrainian Nazis, and publicly urging Kyiv to cede territory to Moscow in exchange for peace. Oh yeah, the denazification. Putin said that Poland was next for denazification. In January, Fico said that Ukraine must give up some of its territory to Russia in order to end the war. He also argues that it is better for Ukraine and Russia to negotiate for the next 10 years than to kill each other. Kill each other? It was Russia that invaded. At the same time, on April 11th, he said that Slovakia was firmly behind Ukraine's bid to join the European Union. This is just pathetic. But I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen the moment the Slovakian election had ended. Like, this was a very predictable result. When a pro-Russian government takes office, it was not something that I did not see coming, unfortunately. There's a silver lining to this. The silver lining is that the Law and Justice Party at about the same time lost its grip of power in Poland. Of course, there's the fact that Poland has been enabling Hungary for a long time with its little scuffles against the European Union. And there has been worry that Slovakia would sort of kind of take its place. Well, Slovakia is being pretty aggressively and openly pro-Russia, which we're seeing now. We'll see. We'll see how things will develop. Currently, as we speak, things are still not well, especially as things have developed in the Israel-Palestine conflict, how Iran has attacked Israel, how all the missiles and drones have been intercepted, how it shows how the West can unite and act when it comes to certain things, but seems to be quite not as capable when it comes to other things. We'll see. We'll see.